Ready to roll.
I think so.
Good.
Do you have an opening statement? Go ahead.
Not much of an opening statement. Of course, the news is not good news in many ways. Anytime there appears to be a misappropriation of funds, that's never good. In terms of the service that's provided to the addicts and the people in need, it's devastating that those services potentially will be lost. We've always maintained that health services are, in this case, it was federally funded, federally approved and provincially funded, so accountability for how health funds are spent is rightfully the responsibility of the provincial government, and they certainly have every right to conduct audits on how that money is spent. Disappointing to hear that the money may have been spent inappropriately. We've never had that accounting back to the City of Lethbridge on the health issues. We're confident that money was spent appropriately on the services that were funded by the City of Lethbridge, which was complex housing for people with severe addictions and the assorted supports that they needed to be successful. But that's the extent. We wait to hear what additional opportunities there will be to provide supports to people with addictions, and we look forward to working with the provincial government.
Perfect. So Chris, so you did mention that the city does provide some funding to the SCS. Do we know at this point what may or may not be happening to that?
Right now, the only funding that's currently provided to ARCHES is for removal of encampments. So all the other services now either have been funded internally by ARCHES, for example, needle pickup, funded internally by ARCHES. Other services like the rapid rehousing of people with severe needs, that has now been transferred or has been transferred to other agencies.
So I know that you are a strong advocate for the harm reduction side of what the SCS provides. I guess, is there anything that you'd like to see done going forward to make sure that we can still have that, or what would you like to see going forward?
Well, the positive side was that there was regular contact with addicts and drug users. Hopefully, we'll be able to maintain some form of communication to get those people the help that they need, and we need to have processes to make sure that those supports are provided to help people out of addiction and back to productive lives.
So the province did say that there's going to be a mobile supervised consumption site being brought in for now. Are you aware exactly what that may or may not be doing, if this is more of just a short-term solution for now?
Well, we don't know what the end result will be, but where they're defunding ARCHES immediately, there needs to be some form of support. So in terms of supervised consumption, I think everybody said supervised consumption and harm reduction is one component. And of course, as everyone knows, the challenge has been in Lethbridge is that we have not had other supports in the past. So supervised consumption opened in February of 2018. I think that was followed by detox in September of 2018, 8 beds at the regional hospital, and then only just in June of this year, intox at the homeless shelter. But we've really been struggling with supports in dealing with drug addiction and the whole issue going back the last 5 years and beyond. And as addictions moved from alcohol addiction into drug addiction, we just have not had the services needed to keep up, and it's been a huge challenge. And of course, we've been looking for supported housing for people with mental health needs, but we need to have a whole range of supports, a balanced need across the spectrum as to how to deal with the drug issue and addiction issues and associated crime.
Last summer, there was a motion in August to defund the SCS, as well as have the provincial government conduct a thorough review of all supervised consumption sites in the province. Now, to find out this information about the funds being mismanaged, there must have been a trust broken between yourself and ARCHES. How does that make you feel after these findings?
Well, I feel angry, to be honest. Certainly, we in good faith thought that harm reduction and supervised consumption was perhaps a needed service, but certainly it's disappointing to hear that the funds were not spent and there wasn't the right accountability. So there needs to be an adjustment, and it certainly impacts the reputation of harm reduction and supervised consumption. So it's a huge challenge, but the reason why the motion was defeated, I think speaking on behalf of those who voted against the motion, simply was that we felt it wasn't our jurisdiction. There was no accountability. We didn't have that information that we have today, last August. So we said, you know, basically it's a health issue. It's the responsibility of the provincial government, and again, federally approved, provincially funded. So the accountability all along for those services goes back to Alberta Health Services and the provincial government.
So there's both this this financial audit and the recent third-party operational review as well. So we've certainly heard from people who are not in supportive of the SCS, saying that, you know, both of these reviews kind of validate the negative aspects of it. I guess, what would you say in response to that?
Well, I still believe that supervised consumption is part of the 4 steps. Harm reduction is part of the 4 components that are needed, and I think it's important that those programs be run well. And again, it's up to the provincial government to provide strategies that work together, coordinated strategies to assist cities like Lethbridge. So there does need to be a balanced approach. There does need to be an opportunity for people to escape addiction and go into recovery. We currently lack the resources that we need to address those issues, and hopefully we can work with the provincial government to provide them in the future.
Now, we haven't heard from Arches yet. They declined to take availability today. But in terms of what's going to happen with them if they are shut down, what does that mean for the community, these people who rely on the safe consumption site, who now don't have a place to go?
Well, I'd be concerned about what happens, you know, in terms of the other aspects of negative aspects of addiction. So what happens if people are just loose in the community, injecting drugs in public parks and schoolyards? We haven't stopped the problem. The problem still exists with addiction. We need the services to deal with that. So what will clean needle distribution look like? Who will pick up the needles and keep the community clean and safe? How will those specific issues be addressed? I think that's important to understand going forward.
Have you heard from Arches regarding this situation?
Nope. Arches is not accountable to us. They've been accountable to their own board of directors. We've had really no communication whatsoever between the board and city council in any way. Their accountability has been to Alberta Health Services.
The province is going to be bringing in a mobile site and a supervised, so acknowledging that harm reduction is still needed in the community. I guess, is that reassuring to hear that at least?
I don't know what the capacity is, if they'll be able to keep up with the needs. Certainly, we want to make sure that people have those services that need them and can access them. So we'll leave it to the province to bring forward the next steps as to how they're going to address the issues, but certainly we don't want the problem to be worse in the community. We don't want people, a proliferation of drug use throughout the community. We want it to be focused. We want people to feel that they can go and access the services that they need to make sure that this problem doesn't get worse before it gets better.
Now that this service isn't available, will the city be doing any consultations with any other support systems throughout the city in order to target the drug crisis? I know this is all.
Our responsibility is to try and maintain a clean and safe community, and that has been a challenge. The drug problem has only gotten worse. From 2013 to current year, basically drug use, I think, was doubling every year through to 2019. Massive problem. We're dealing with the collateral damage of excessive illegal drug use. And it's going to be a challenge going forward. We will work with the provincial government. We want them to be a partner and make sure that Lethbridge receives the services that it needs to deal with this. So we look forward to positive developments, initiatives that the provincial government has underway to try and assist with the overall issue. We just can't have one thing happening in isolation of all the others. So back in February, I believe, there was an announcement that there would be drug courts announced for Lethbridge. We'd like to see what that looks like, what kind of supports are needed to make that effective. How is that going to move forward and address the various issues? What do our treatment facilities, what supports do they need in the city? So again, they're provincially funded. What role can they play? How can they be more successful in growing the intake of clients, and how can those people be supported? But those are all provincial responsibilities, and we want to work with the provincial government to make sure that our city gets the supports that it does need.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Time?
Blaine Hyggen, B-L-A-I-N-E-H-Y-G-G-E-N,
And your official title?
City Councillor.
Okay, sorry, just give me a second.
Do you mind doing that again? Can you speak up a little louder?
Sure, B-L-A-I-N-E-H-Y-G-G-E-N, City Councillor. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, now I just want you to know I'm only going to be reading a statement.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Oh, just trying
I got it.
to.
Okay.
As a councillor in Lethbridge, I've been closely following the information and reports released by the Alberta government in the past 6 months, including the SCS expert panel review, and I'll be reading the results of the audit of Arches in full, and will have more to say later. I ultimately respect the decisions of the provincial government and will remain focused on doing my part in ensuring we have a safe and viable community for the citizens of Lethbridge. Lethbridge is a passionate community, and at the end of the day, regardless of what side of the coin you're on, we can all agree that healthy and safe residence makes for a vibrant community. I remain committed to this, and I'm unwavering in my ideologies that recovery needs to be addressed in Lethbridge in a big way. In light of the announcement yesterday from our provincial partners, I'm confident Lethbridge will be on the right path for a healthier future. Thank you.
Thanks, Blaine. All right.